Good day, everyone. I am Marigil C. Perez, and I will be presenting to you the article by Rosgar Bayi Said entitled Effects of Feeding Mung Beans Vigna Radiate on the Broiler Performance. And I will also give comments in this article. So, let's start. So here are the contents of this presentation. The first one is the rationale or the problem. Second, objectives of the study. Third, related literature and citations. Fourth, research methods. Fifth, results. Sixth, conclusion. And the last is recommendations. So let's proceed to the first one, which is the rationale or problem of the study. Rationale or the problem. The relationship between diet composition and coccidiosis has been investigated, and it has been proved that the dietary levels of various nutrients influence coccidial infection in poultry. This problem is common, which is the coccidiosis, and it really affects the chickens if they were in high density and raised near their litters, according to Penn State Extension in 2020. However, this problem is a bit far from the variables tested in this study. For some reasons, it does not give any importance to justify this study. Next is the objectives of the study. So the objective of this study was the effect of mung bean inclusion in broiler diets on improvement of feed conversion, health care and growth of birds, and reduce the incidence of non-microbial diseases, and to investigate the feat of adding mung beans to broiler diets on growth performance. So the objectives expressed a relationship between the variables, which is to determine the effectiveness of feeding the mung beans on the growth performance of the broiler chickens. Then it follows the specific objectives that can also support the main problem, which is to reduce the incidence of non-microbial diseases and to investigate the feat of adding mung beans to broiler diets on growth performance, which were testable. So we have here the review of literature, and I only presented the three literatures. So the first one here is from Awika and others in 2000, along with the studies of Murwani in 2008 and Murwani and Martini in 2009, which says that using of grains such as corn, sorghum, and mung beans provide not only macro and micronutrients but also other bioactive nutrients. Second one is from Allen et al. In 1998 and Singh and others in 2013, which states that the relationship between diet composition and coccidiosis has been investigated, and it has been proved that the dietary levels of various nutrients influence coccidial infection in poultry. And the last one here is from McNaughton in 1978, which says that the mung bean hull is characterized by a moderate level of crude protein, which is 12%, and the crude fiber, which is 19%, which makes it suitable for inclusion in diets in pre-laying. So these are the review of literature that can support the main focus of this study. However, it has limited references included to support the problem of this study. Also, it might not convince the readers to support the assertions in this study because this our scientific article does not have any review of literature section, which makes this study have insufficient supporting evidence for the main problem and the variables. Because from the study of Zenarosa and Canciles in 2018, it has a review of literature section, which makes their study comprehensible to the readers. This study can be clearer and easier to understand if the author included the review of literature. Okay, so let's proceed to the research methods. So the experimental site of this study is in the research farm from the Faculty of the Agricultural Science, Sulaimani University in Baracajo, during the period from 10th day of October 2014 to 12th day of May in 2014. There were 99 broiler chicks used as a subject and were randomly divided to 3 replicates, which contains 11 birds per replicate. The parameters used are live body weight, um, weight of individual chick, average feed consumed, feed conversion ratio. They also include the production index. They also tested the carcass characteristics of the broiler chicken. They slaughtered 6 chickens and were randomly selected, aging from 35 and 42 days for each treatment. They used the dressing percentage formula, the percentage of pieces, and percentage of pancreas to calculate the proportion of the carcass included, like the major breast, thigh, heart, liver, and gizzard. They also use the complete randomized design, which is their research design. And they used this formula here to measure the treatment. And as for the significant differences among treatments, the author used the Duncan's multiple range test. So the methodology of this study is explained briefly. Unfortunately, it does not contain any ethical clearance like in the study of Hafiz, Manner, Scheider, and Zentek in 2016. They mentioned that they followed the protocols in accordance with the Animal Welfare Act of Germany, approved by the local state office of occupational health and technical safety. Also, on this on the part of using this formula, which is the highlighted one here, the author did not explain this formula. It does not have any name mentioned in this study. Even the purpose of this formula is not stated. Even the symbolic names of this formula does not contain any definitions. So the results here shows that there was no significant effect of diet on weight gain or feed conversion ratio of the broiler chickens. It was shown in tables 2 to 6. As for the table 7 to 10, it shows different results. For table 7, it shows the results from the feeding of broiler chickens on live body weight and percentage of pancreas at 35 and 42 days old. For table 8, it shows dressing percentage on carcass weight on the same day of the broiler chickens. For table 9, it shows the effects of using mung beans on thigh and breast percentage. And for the table 10, it shows the effect of using mung beans on liver, heart, and gizzard of broiler chickens. And the results from table 7 to 10, it reveals that it has no significant differences. And the results of this study is clear, which can substantiate the claims of this study. However, the appearance of the tables, specifically the tables 2 to 6, is a bit informal. This study can also consider using the same design in the table 1. Further, it has a short explanation in each table, which is insufficient, and it makes the readers question the data as to why it arrived in this kind of results. This conclusion here is obviously pointed out the main point from the results. However, it does not show any fresh perspectives on the problem. The part from this study is insufficient for the readers. So these recommendations here is somewhat answered the rationale of this study. Fortunately, it has recommendations for future researchers, which opens new idea for them in order to improve this topic. On the other hand, this part can also make the readers unsatisfied. In general, this study revealed some knowledge gaps, and this can be served as a basis in determining the effectiveness of mung beans as a feed for the growth performance of the broiler chickens. This paper might have several disparities, but on the other side of it, it answered all the objectives and presented the data appropriately. This study can be a good reference for the future researchers, and at least the paper is carried out simply. And thank you so much for listening.